Hi guys, welcome back to this Money Control live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka, and my colleague here.
Hello there, I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, Yatin, a sad day. We've lost legendary business tycoon Ratan Tata, and of course, this leaves a void not just in the business community but India as a whole, right? Kindness personified, and there's so many takeaways from him. So many of his quotes, resonates so much with us, and there's so much to learn from his life and times. He's transformed the Tata Group. So to say, but we saw heightened activity in the Tata Group stocks today, and of course, just a few minutes to go when we get TCS numbers as well. Aside of that, of course, if you look at the market action, Yatin, before we come to market action, anything that you took away from the life and times of
Tata? I think, as Rakesh Jhunjhunwala said, Ratan Tata led the house of Tatas, and, the way the Tatas be it Ratan Tata or the forefathers or the founding fathers, we have learned philanthropy, we have learned corporate governance, we have learned how to basically work for the society and the larger good, from the house of Tata. So clearly, it's an inevitable loss for India Inc. Or if you talk about personality which was media shy, but in the newsroom, in the boardroom, everywhere he used to dominate his presence, and clearly India has lost its Ratan, as they say.
That's an apt way to put it, Yatin. But let's take a look at the market action then. As I said, we are just awaiting TCS's second quarter numbers. Press conference has been cancelled, but the analyst call will happen at 7 p.m. But looking at the market action, Yatin, a fairly range-bound session today, although we did hit that 25,100 mark in intraday trade, but all of those gains were shaved off. It was the weekly expiry as well, and which is why I think we saw some bit of volatility as well. But the mid-cap index also succumbed to profit-taking, Yatin. That index ended in the red. Advanced decline ratio, slightly in favor of gainers, but nevertheless 1:1. Bank Nifty saw good action today, 1% higher for the Nifty Bank Index. Even autos saw good buying action. But what didn't do well was the entire pharma pack. That was among the top gainers yesterday. But today, pharma pack lost quite a bit. And aside of that, IT pack was also under pressure. Even though TCS was trading in the green at one point in time, but towards the end of the session, even TCS gave up its gain. So IT and pharma were the top laggards today. In terms of individual movers, private banks saw good action. The likes of Kotak Bank, HDFC Bank gained anywhere between 3 to 4% apiece. Bharat Electronics, which is a recent entrant in the Nifty, gained today, and so did the likes of Maruti and JSW Steel. Aside of that, if you take a look at the losers, most of them from the pharma and IT pack, Cipla, Sun Pharma, all of them among losers. Tech Mahindra, Infosys, they were also among the top laggards on the Nifty. Hero Moto, Trent, which has seen good buying action, came under profit taking today. But Yatin, Tata Group stocks like Tata Investment, Tata Chemicals were clearly, rallying today.
Yeah, but select Tata Group stocks were moving, but as you mentioned, it was a quiet day. Almost 1:1 is the kind of advanced decline that we saw. If you look at small cap, mid caps, not an action-packed day. Specific action though. But the mid-cap end of the market was quiet. In fact, stocks like DB Realty, Mazagon Dock, Usha Martin moved in trade 7-8% higher for these stocks. But look at stocks like Lupin, lost 6% in trade, and that is the reason why we saw 2% cut coming in for the pharma index, despite other stocks being down anywhere between 1-1.5%. The overall index down because of this heavyweight. Ambuja Cement, Cipla, Concord Bio, all of these stocks losing in trade. Also, stocks like ICICI Securities, Nykaa, Torrent Pharma, Piramal Pharma, in general losing steam in trade. But if you look at stocks like Fluorochemicals, Anantraj, MCX, Polycab, these are the classy mid caps which are at 52-week highs and good moves in trade today as well. So yes, stock specific action, but overall a muted day for mid caps today.
Well, muted day for mid caps and even benchmarks for that matter. But Yatin, let's shift focus to all the stocks that are on our radar this afternoon. Starting with TCS, the numbers will be declared shortly. But let me just take you guys through the expectations. It is expected to be similar to first quarter somewhat. Revenues are expected to grow somewhere around 2.1% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Profit expected to increase slightly above 3% on a quarter-on-quarter basis again. EBIT margin is expected to remain flat around that 24.7 mark sequentially. That's according to the money control poll. There could be several large deals, during the quarter, and order book could also be on the higher side. The deal wins this quarter has been dominated by, companies from the retail sector, the likes of Primark, McDonald's, Chroma, and even Rolls-Royce, right? Aside of that, the key to watch out for will be comments on generative AI, hiring. These will be some of the themes to watch out for, given the fact that, last quarter we saw the company add headcount, right, after 3 straight quarters of headcount decline. So we need to see what the company says in terms of hiring as well. And generative AI, TCS is the only company after Accenture that, declares its AI revenues as well. So what the company is doing in terms of generative AI deals is something to watch out for. $1.5 billion, that's the kind of revenue they had declared last quarter. This quarter we'll have to see what is the quantum. And aside of that, if you look at some of the other parameters to watch out for, of course, we know that the Fed has cut interest rates by a jumbo 50 basis points, right? So when will demand pick up, discretionary demand pick up, and whether BFSI, which returned to growth last quarter, sees more growth this, in the second half, and telecom vertical, which is a pain point, whether that will make a comeback as discretionary spends improve. These are some of the things to watch out for. Also, what's happening in North America region and European region as well. That is where the weakness is, because last quarter as well, growth was driven by India business, and this quarter, if that is the region which will dominate growth or not, that's something that we'll have to watch out for. So all in all, expected to be similar to first quarter, but commentary around deal wins, European business, in early indications of client budgets in 2025, discretionary spends, AI and generative AI pipeline are some of the things to watch out for.
And Nandita, anytime I think the TCS results will hit the stock exchanges, we'll watch out for that. But for all the analysis on the TCS earnings, how the con call was, how the management commentary was, stay tuned to Money Control. Moving from IT to airports, and GMR Airport is one stock you need to watch out for, because Jefferies has once again come out with a buy recommendation today with a target of 106. Now, the Nagpur airport bid has been won by GMR. And one of its kind bidding in which GMR Airports will get a 16% plus kind of revenue share. In fact, if you look at the revenue share, it will be close to 14.49%. And obviously there will be escalations and control periods in which the company can revise or do capex and make a fixed return on the entire pool. Now the concession agreement for the Nagpur development and operation has been signed. Most importantly, it is one of the strategic centers in India, because Nagpur is the second capital of Maharashtra, centrally located, and that airport, if fully operational, can reach any part of India, because it is on the center within 2 to 2.5 hours at best. So one of the strategic airports that has been planned by the Maharashtra government and the state central agencies. And this agreement should lead to a growth trajectory which is much stronger. Remember, the Hyderabad airport, the Delhi airport, the Goa airport are already operated by GMR, and with Nagpur airport also coming in the cap, this is something which will act as a growth driver for the stock moving ahead. So watch out for this stock. Looks interesting after Jefferies has a buy recommendation on the stock.
So that was all about GMR Airports, but the other stock that's on my list today is Vodafone Idea. Some bit of reprieve. It has earned an upgrade from JP Morgan, and the stock has been upgraded to neutral. Target price is still below the FPO price of 11 rupees. The target price is at 10 rupees vis-a-vis its earlier target of 7 rupees. The stock is somewhere around that 10 rupee mark at the current juncture. Now, JP Morgan was underweight on the stock for the last 4 years, ever since it had it initiated coverage on the stock due to concerns over balance sheet as well as its survival. The brokerage has also pointed out that it will still not turn constructive on the stock till the time the success of strategy of capex rollout as well as arresting subscriber loss is proven by the company. So of course it will wait for proof of success before turning constructive, but for now it's neutral on the company. In fact, JP Morgan has baked in another 15% tariff hike for each for FY26 as well as FY27. Of course, after the first tariff hike in 3 years that happened recently, the tariff repair, process has started. That's what brokerages have maintained. And now with 2 more tariff hikes coming in over 2 financial years, that will further repair the tariff, right, in the telecom sector, which, by the way, is the lowest, still the lowest in the world. But aside of that, JP Morgan has pointed out that the company has 2,09,500 crore rupee worth of AGR as well as spectrum dues, to be paid FY26 onwards. Now, it assumes that the deferred spectrum payment of 29,000 crore rupees will get equitized by the government at 10 rupees per share. And the company should be able to pay its dues in FY27 and FY27 both, FY26 and FY27 both, but it will fall short in FY28. That's where the concerns lie.
Correct.
But there were sources, sources have told, in fact, CNBC Awaaz, that the company, we all know that the company was seeking, what do you call it?
An exemption
for the bank guarantee,
which is for the spectrum payments.
Yeah.
And I think the government has now asked them to submit a 5-year revival plan.
4 to 5 year revival plan.
If that revival plan is satisfactory, then TRAI and the regulatory authorities and the telecom agencies will decide. But I think this bank guarantee thing is quite a new thing.
Yeah.
Because the company is not able to provide that bank guarantee. Other telecom players have. But if Vodafone fails to provide that bank guarantee, whether or not they get an exemption, if there is a violation, what action can the telecom authorities take is something we need to watch out for. But yes, a tricky situation. Probably the reason why, Nandita, after the AGR due reconciliation was rejected by the Supreme Court, this another roadblock is still standing in the way of Vodafone Idea.
And ever since the AGR verdict, the stock is down almost 30%. But in terms of dues, with respect to spectrum dues, the company has to pay somewhere around 1.3 lakh crore rupees. With respect to AGR payments, it stands at 70,000 crore rupees. And the moratorium, the 4-year moratorium, that ends in September 2025. And post that, Vodafone needs to pay somewhere around 43,000 crore rupees, post that period. So, a lot of payments are due. Whether or not the bank guarantee gets waived off is something that, perhaps will decide the fate of the stock for the near term at least, if not the long term. But I think with that, those were all the stocks that were on our radar this afternoon. We've come to the end of closing bell on that note. Of course, we'll be back with the coverage on TCS numbers, which will be declared shortly. So stay tuned to Money Control. We'll be getting you an analysis of the numbers and how the stock can react post the numbers. So come back and join us somewhere around 4:15 p.m. That's when we'll touch base with our analysts. But for now, it's a goodbye from me and Yatin. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned.